Yo, 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 hold on, hold on. Hey, yo, yo, yo. Of course, I'm in the utility right now. I'm gonna turn off this air so y'all can hear me just in case. All right, I had to turn off the air just in case. I'm gonna try to get a better viewpoint for y'all. Hold on. Just some background. I don't know. I would have blinked it out. Hopefully, y'all can hear me and stuff like that. Y'all already know the drill. I'm just letting people come into this live stream and stuff like that, so they can, what I'm saying, let people marinate up in here, get up in here and stuff like that. So, that's not crazy, right? Um, but yeah, let some people get up in here so that they can um get the message and stuff. I don't want to start too early before they get in here. So anybody y'all that's rewatching this or whatever like that is an actual video, just letting y'all know. So give me about what another 30 seconds just to let things warm up. You know what I'm saying? That's all. So yeah, bear with me. Yo. So by the way, again, we will be starting soon. Let me get right. Let me close to the mic so I can hear. We will be starting soon. And soon I'm gonna try to get it made where I can make a background that's blank in the back, you feel me? So I can be, what I'm saying, get this right. Um but anyway, yeah, we about 2 minutes in. I'm finna get into it. So today's video, you can tell by the topic is gonna be about the power of consistency, right? So the power of consistency. And shout out everybody that's in here and all that stuff like that. Today is a great message, and this is a real down to earth message. Now, today's gonna be about, as you can tell by the title, the power of consistency. Now, when you talk about consistency, there's many reasons why it is important that we rectify this particular energy. Now, we live in an earth element, aka we live in a planet or a world that resonates with the earth element. So by default, knowing the energy of consistency, that is something that is obviously backed and supported by the earth element, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to have some type of structure and consistency in your life. So therefore you want to rectify this energy in general. When you come here to earth and stuff like that, this is one of the things here that we're all here to master in some shape or form. Now don't get it twisted. Everybody got their own energetic alchemical makeup. But for the most part, this is something that we all need to some type of percentage, to some extent, even if it's on a smaller percentage level. Now, one of the biggest reasons that I mentioned why it's so important to master this. Shout out to Dylan Tequila. Shout out to Terotis. How y'all doing? I'm glad y'all in here. Y'all go follow Terotis. Terotis. Y'all go follow Dylan Tequila. You see what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all being in here 100%. Um, so one of the main reasons why discipline is so needed, or let me just say consistency in general, because a lot of people don't understand that just because you work hard with something or you stick with something does not 100% mean that by default you're going to make it in whatever you're trying to do, or that you're going to prosper or succeed. That is true. That is not, I mean, I just want to let y'all know it is true that just because you go hard don't mean that you're always going to make it in whatever you're trying to do. But you need to understand at the same time, a lot of things or whatever goals that we be having, how do I put it? I'm gonna try to better way to put it, because it's like I know it's jumbled up, but what I'm trying to hit at for this one is, even if it's a goal that we feel like we can't make, but that's something that we want to go for. The reason why I say that it's important to be consistent is because the energy of consistency, I'm gonna just give it to you straight, is an energy within itself. So even if you're working hard towards whatever you're trying to work hard towards, you see what I'm saying? You may feel like, damn, this is gonna take me forever to get to X, Y, and Z. This is gonna take me forever to put in all this effort to do this. But you don't understand, number one, why you even putting the effort into that whole time period. You're already gaining a certain sense of currency. You're gaining a certain energy, and you might not know that just because you can't see it, because you're not seeing things from a metaphysical perspective. But everything you're doing, you're building an energy, and that energy is a form of currency. You see what I'm saying? And that will play out in your life in some shape or form. That's why I say shout out to Rick Ross when he made that one video about when he was he had that business he had bought or bought one of the fast food joints. And he was telling the youngins, he was saying, you may not know it, but always find something to always do, always be doing something, always be constantly doing something, no matter what it is, because you may not know it, but you're building something. And he was speaking through metaphysical tones, but it's only certain things that they can say, and they can only say it through certain lenses. So of course, a lot of these celebrities, when they do have some type of knowledge, they put it through some type of filter so that they don't necessarily 100% just come out and just tell you straight up. You gotta like read between the lines or catch and peep what they saying. Same way with the Kevin Gates dude. He get a lot of hate about a lot of stuff. He say that's real, but that's besides the point. But you need to understand when you talk about the energy of consistency, you are building something, um, even metaphysically, even if you aren't making it to the goal. And what I need to understand is that time period that you're building is crucial because you're building spiritual strength. You see what I'm saying? You're building a sense of energy, currency, and spiritual strength. And that energy you'll be able to put that through many areas of your life, or it can play out in other areas of your life, even if it's not the main goal that you wanted to achieve. Now, what you need to understand, shout out to Lucia Lanzer 9692. Shout out him, go follow him, y'all. So now getting to it, let's use an example here, right? So somebody may say, okay, like say somebody ill, right? Now this is because I like these examples because they help paint a picture. It's the closest thing to showing somebody something without being able to show them physically. So that's the best, most tangible way in their mind they could grasp it. So basically, it's like this: say you got a situation where you're ill or you're sickly at the moment, and you low on energy, right? And what do you say to yourself? You say like, damn, I want to get back healed, right? I want to get back to 100%. I want to be in a situation where I get my energy back. So we know that that takes a certain amount of things, tasks, and directions you got to go in to get that done. You got to deal with you got to start exercising. You got to get on your health journey as far as nutrients, whether you're taking multivitamins, health, hydration, right? And it takes whatever else it takes, physical therapy, whatever. My whole point that I'm saying is this is an example of a goal. This is just the most straightforward example. So that takes you consistently doing it. You may take somebody who they be like, okay, I gotta do all this stuff, right? And they may do it maybe like a day or two or three, and they don't keep doing it, right? And they be like, oh, this don't work because too many times do we be in situations where we know what we may need to do, but we settle that out and we don't do that because we feel like, man, look, it's a faster way to do this, or we try to find a shortcut, not knowing a lot of times when we be in these type of situations, we do all these different shortcuts. And then by at the end of the day, you realize the shit that you thought was a shortcut wasn't even really a shortcut, and you actually end up wasting more time because when you start realizing like, damn, these shortcuts was actually a waste of time themselves because there was only monetary gain. Peep, peep, they never actually fixed the situation. So you got to read between the lines of what I'm saying. I'm not only just using this. I'm not just talking about this example. This is anything you're doing. I'm just painting the lens so you can get example of what I'm trying to say. But this goes in any area of life, whatever you're trying to go for. It could be you working. It could be you trying to go towards a business, some creative endeavor you got, some fitness deal you got, some health gig you got, romance, some ritual you doing, manifestation. Well, it don't matter what you doing. This always plays. So back to what I was saying is, you may look at it like, oh, let me do these shortcuts, and then after a while you start realizing like, damn, the shortcuts was actually a waste of time because there was monetary gain. So even though they might have helped you out for the moment, you realize in the long run it didn't actually help you from that goal, and it almost in a sense actually kind of set you back for the simple fact of, yeah, it might have felt good in the moment or you felt like you was getting somewhere, but you realize that's that cliche saying, you thought you was getting somewhere but you was going nowhere fast. Because the long game, when they say the long game wins the race, I know it sounds so like corny, but it's truth to that in the sense of, when you persevere to an extent and you put a lot of energy into something, remember I told you before, you're building something. So that energy don't go nowhere. The energy is neither created or destroyed. That's the currency you're building. So that don't go nowhere. So that end up being able to be put back into the thing that you were trying to create, even if you didn't make it right away. When you do end up making it, or if you never eventually make that goal, then that energy still lingers and lasts for you to put into other things. And I know it's crazy if you're not into the metaphysical, but this is why you get a person who's in jail, or a rapper who's in jail. A lot of times, and as soon as they get out, they blow up harder, or you take a person who both people may not be rappers yet at all, but when they get out, they want to start to be a rapper. As soon as one of them get out, they blow up. Another one don't blow up as much. And a lot of times that's too because of energy work. Anything you're doing in your life, that's energy that you've accumulated. And this is why I know it sounds suck. I'm not trying to influence anybody to do anything bad, but this is why even if you are a person that you sell dope, or you in the streets, you doing whatever you're doing, you gang, you just shoot this, that, da, 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 da. we may look at those things as negative, but these are all still spiritual experiences to an extent. And since they're still in the energy signature of doing something, they're vibrating harder. So they're in a situation where that energy will be utilized in many different ways. Give me 1 second, 1 second, y'all, 1 second. Right? So that energy will be able to be utilized in many different ways, right? You need to understand that. So that's how that plays out a lot of times. So when they finally do touch, it's that concept of whatever I touch turn to gold. Because when they do touch something, or they do start putting that energy into something, guess what? Remember I said before, you're always building something. That energy currency won't go nowhere. So that energy directly goes into whatever it is that they're trying to currently do now. That's that same concept. Now, that you need to understand that from a metaphysical level. Now, when you just talk about the energies and consistency itself, like I was using with that one example, a person that's ill, a person that's not in the best health, trying to get themselves back on track. The reason why it's important to be consistent is because I broke down all the time already about the whole shortcut thing and trying to duck shortcuts because that's just monetary gain. You doing something get a quick fix to feel better is cool, but in the long run, it's not really helping you, and it's actually setting you back because all that time when you was finding all those shortcuts, trying to shortcut the problem or whatever it is that you really need to do, it was like, nah, I just want this right now. I want this right now. That's the same way with money. I want this right now. I want this right now. I want this right now. I'm tired of this situation. You know all that say, y'all? All that say is somebody that's not willing to be strong and persevere through the situation circumstance. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm all with it with what they say. Work smarter, not harder. That's true too. There's sciences to that too. But it's in context because you gotta understand the energies that just in general, right? You got to be balanced and try not to, you don't want to compartmentalize any of these things. So when you understand things, you understand this person that was trying to get all these shortcuts all that time that they was searching for shortcuts, trying to do this, do that, because even though they knew what they want to do, they was like, nah, but I want to do this. Yeah, but that'd take too long. Yeah, I did that 3 4 days. That didn't work overnight. Let me do this. All that time, all them days, months, days may end up weeks. Weeks end up being months. Months end up being half a year, then a year. All that time that you did, you realize at the end of the day, you could have actually been closer to your goal or to your goal. All that energy work that you spent finding all the little shortcuts and trying to work your way around, you could have actually been to your goal because time always moving. Especially nowadays, it seems like it's moving faster than ever. So by the time you look back, you would have already realized, like, damn, I'm already halfway towards my goal had you been consistent. And this be kind of the difference to why some people do be in situations a lot faster than others. But it's not the only factor. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna just sound cliche. It's not the only factor. It's other factors too. A person's energies, their own energies, what they already have, all that shit like that. But a lot of times when they come up to just straight pure strength, hard work, a person is consistently doing something for years on end, they're already building up a certain sense of currency. So even if that don't work in the way that they want them to work or whatever they're going for, it's still gonna play out in some other way in their life. And that's what you gotta understand. Now I gotta cut this video short because my phone overheated, but you need to understand that. And so yeah, you all those shortcuts, but you realize all that time because you gonna always switch up shortcuts because shortcuts don't last for long. That's why they're called shortcuts, and that's why shortcuts also are short-lived. You need to understand that. So that's why you're gonna spend so much money or time looking. Oh, I gotta do this. I want to do this. Oh, let me do this. I'm gonna do this instead. I'm gonna do this instead. All this switching, around, all this all over the place shit. When you could have just, you knew what we all know internally, kind of what we gotta do, but we don't a lot of times listen to our inner voice and go and stand strong or whatever we need to do. A lot of times, even if we do consciously know what we got to do, we be wanting shortcuts and we want to beat around the bush instead of going through the hard work because that takes, what does that do? That takes and builds what? Spiritual strength, which I was talking about before. You know what I'm saying? And we want to go into that because we just want some shit overnight. But then again, remember the dude that's not actually building perseverance and not staying spiritually strong and being consistent with whatever they're going for is never gonna be the person that's gonna have that Taurus energy, aka be in a situation of being founded and fixated in whatever that they wanted their goal. See, a lot of people can make the money, but everybody can't fixate themselves in the money. A lot of people can make $100,000, but everybody can't hold $100,000. A lot of people want to be millionaires and may make it. They may hit the lottery, hit the jackpot, that shortcut, but a lot of them might not be able to hold that money. That's what I'm talking about. Slow and steady win the race because that process that it takes in between was the energy that was built that now can be sustained once you actually get to that point. But it takes strength, it takes push through, as above so below. When you want to get big muscle wise, you got to constantly do that to get better. You ain't gonna get better if you're not consistent. You need to understand that it go deep. That's a deep, deep, deep thing. 1 second. right? So I'm about to get up out of here. But much love to y'all, stuff like that. I want to break that down so consistency, because so many times, um, we want to beat around the bush. That's like something even as petty as I used the workout one, but that's like even the dude that was trying to beat his addiction, right? He's trying to beat his addiction because whatever addiction he had was draining him, right? And it was a lot of stuff that it was draining. Every time he did it, it was draining him. He knew it was putting him in a self decrement, however that word is. You see what I'm saying? Hold on one second. It was putting him in a self decrement or whatever. So so every time he would do that addiction or drug or whatever the hell he was doing, it would be draining life from him. And he was saying he wanted to quit that. But it was a example like that. The dude was doing that and he knew he ended up he got he knew it took certain steps. It was a process. This is what I'm talking about. This is a process. That's what consistency is. It's a process. You gotta be continuously doing what you're doing though. So the first step was he knew he had to go get therapy, aka you. Some people can do this by themselves, but it's just taking the time, the initiative, or maybe research if you are by yourself to find out what the problem is and why you have it. That's the first step. The second step is being in a situation where you find out the things you need to do to go about it. And the third thing, which all these things are simultaneous, and then the third thing is having ways to replace or utilize that time where you was that you could do that and replace that with something else. So he had that, but he knew all this, right? But instead of just going through it and keep doing it, he was like, "Man, I want this overnight. I want to change overnight." He kept finding all these little shortcuts and shit like that, and they made them. He made it made one day it may work, the next day he'll fail, binge and crash, relapse, 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 and then eventually he started to realize, bro, all this time that I'm taking trying to go around the bush and not just go straight towards the goal and be consistent with what I know I need to do. I'm wasting time. All that time could have went towards me actually going towards my goal and being on the straight and narrow path. So he wasted a lot of time and realized later on he was realizing, man, months, year went by. That energy could have went towards that. And then looking back at it now, he would have already been either to his goal or over halfway to his goal. So it's stuff. It's like that. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And then him. Hold on one second. And then all that shortcut that he did end up slowing him down. You see what I'm saying? But like I said before, he would have been already closer to his path, already closer to that end goal of being healed, and you know what I mean. But it's like that with anything. You got to rectify. You got a problem, and it's with any situation. You always have a starting point. You find out how to go about it, and then you see the things that you need to do while you going about it. You know what I'm saying? And be consistent with it instead of trying to look at it like, oh, let me find a shortcut way to do this, or let me do this, let me do that. And then you end up realizing like a year or two later, all that time that you wasted, nigga, you still not at your goal. You could have waited and saved, you could have put all that energy into that and been strong and go through the situation instead of trying to go around it. Because remember, when you going around something, it take more time to go around instead of you going straight through it. But you scared of that experience, or not even that. You don't want to work through that experience. You don't want to build strength through that experience because you like, nah, I really get it faster because you think in your mind that, oh, this gonna take too much time, right? That's what you think. I've been there. You thinking this gonna take too much time to just do whatever I gotta do, be consistent and build the strength. Take too much time. I really try, but you don't realize though it's actually in reverse. It applied in reverse. The more time you spend trying to do shortcuts and trying to go around the bush, is actually you wasting time because you think you only getting a short monetary gain. That's gonna crash and fall. Then when you realize, damn, the root cause of my issue never was really solved. So you never actually get nowhere fast. Instead of you playing a strong fight, building that energy. So when the time when you actually get there and you heal yourself, after you put in the work of constantly healing yourself, constantly putting your situation and doing the things that you need to do, whatever it is you're trying to work towards, whether it's healing, whether it's a work craft, putting in the work you need to do. Then once you get there, you straight because you done mastered it. You see what I'm saying? You done mastered it. So now you're straight. So now when you get there, you don't have to worry about no crash. You straight. You see what I'm saying? That's why that's important. So yeah, that's why that's important. You see what I'm saying? Then you be straight. Feel me? So much love to y'all. Peace out. But hold on, I want to say this too. But yeah, that's why you want to do that, so you'll be straight. So then when you make it to the top from persevering and being strong and going through it, when you make it to your end goal, you forever at your end goal. You like a king on a throne. You get to relax. Same way with the Bible Christian example of that. You work hard, then on that last day, you rest, aka you work hard, then when you finally get to where you need to be, you can actually sit on it. That's the whole example. That's why you see representation is from reality of gods, kings, thrones. Once you finally get to that point, you can rest and sit on what you work for. You can rest and sit on it. Once you're there, you don't have to worry about it no more. That's like you you got that gem now. You straight. You mastered it. Completion. The energy of completion. Mastery. That's the whole point of even being down here to an extent. So whatever it is you're going towards, that's how you reach mastery. You have to use a sense of consistency. You just have to go about it. You see what I'm saying? And even if you're doing something and you're not getting to where you want to be, right? You can say you're doing it for a long time and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna lie, I've been persevering for a long time, but this ain't working. What's going on? It's not. I'd like to learn this. It's not about stopping what you're doing. Sometimes it's time to upgrade what you're doing. See, what y'all don't understand is this. If y'all, I'm gonna say this and I'm done, but it's actually important. What y'all don't understand is this: the same thing that you see physically play out spiritually a lot of times, at least in this specific realm of reality. So that's why I use the person that's lifting weights or exercising to get stronger, or whatever, right? You're not gonna get stronger overnight. Say you like 140, you thin, right? You're trying to get bigger. You're not gonna get bigger overnight. But you have to be what? This is perfect because it lines with everything of Masaki. You ended out on this note. You have to what? Be consistent. You start working with your low weights, right? You lifting your 5, 10 pound dumbbells. You're doing that. You keep doing that. Then eventually you get comfortable with that. You can go up, right? That's the same concept with that. Y'all be doing the same shit over and over again. And y'all like, wait, but I'm being consistent. But it's not work hard, work don't work. It's not that. You have to apply these things. What did I say earlier? It's the context. You have to apply these things, right? Just like physically, if you already lifting weights and you reach a standpoint, you can do 50 push-ups, right? You don't keep just doing 50 push-ups. You try to go to 60. You try to go to 70. You have to do progressive overload. These are concepts that exist in the physical just as well as the spiritual. Where do you think they even come from? And it's from a reality. You gotta understand that. So what is about a bodybuilder is not gonna be a bodybuilder by okay, I was small, then I did 120 pound bench press and I did good. Then eventually I could do that with nothing to me and they just stayed there forever. You're not gonna get bigger like that. You have to do progressive overload. Once you come to 120, then you move it to what 140 or 130. Then you go to 150. Then you go to 175. Then you go to 200 or 180, 190. You got a progressive overload. So it's the same way with your work. A lot of y'all do the same. Y'all doing good. Y'all like, wait, but I'm putting in the effort. I'm putting in the discipline, the consistency. But what do you mean, huh? It's not working. See. No, it's not that. A lot of y'all just doing the same thing over and over again. You're doing good at first. You keep doing that routine, but eventually you outgrow that routine. Watch this. That doesn't mean stop what you're doing. That doesn't mean stop it, because a lot of people lose hope and say, well, what that mean? That mean no, that don't mean switch another one or nothing. That mean you keep doing the same thing you do, but you upgrade. So instead of doing this amount of work you was done before, you either upgrade that or make it more advanced or do it in a more expanded way or find a way that you can tune it up. That's the whole thing. And so that way you always growing. And then eventually y'all understand you building so much energy. Eventually that is gonna manifest in your life in some way. I don't give a hell what you're doing. Even if you don't play out 100% what the thing you're working towards, you are building the energy. And that is energy. You are gonna be able to put that in something in your life. I guarantee it if you really build it. But see, it's a difference between, yeah, I'm working hard. Yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm not expanding it. So I'm doing this and then I'm doing good because it's always a sense of building. Even like, for example, with these YouTube videos, a lot of people, you'll do like 5 videos, 10 video games. Videos that took work, 15 videos, 20 videos. Y'all go real good. You may go all up to 30, 40, 50. And eventually y'all reach like a standstill. Now, that whole time you was going up doing all these videos, the views is going up. Once you get around 40, 50, it may stop, right? And you say, wait, what's the point of doing this? It's not going to get no higher. Y'all don't understand. That's like, that mean that it's time to expand. That don't mean stop what you're doing. That mean expand it, tune it up, advance it, make it more in depth, whatever you're doing. Upgrade whatever you're doing. Tune it up, whatever you're doing. Expand whatever you're doing. Do it in either a new way or a more upgraded way or a more updated. Like keep updating. That. Even with computers, we get these concepts down here with an old phone. The old phone get to new gen. Then the new gen turn into the next new gen. Then everything keeps growing, building, and taking new forms. But it's the same energy. a phone is still the same energy of a phone. It ain't like they turn into something else. You still calling, you still use it to communicate, socialize. You see what I'm saying? It's the same exact thing and doing the same thing just in a new way, a new energy, a more advanced way. Before you could just tap and fold it and you couldn't do anything on it but just flip phone and call. Then after that they had Blackberry, then you could start texting with the email on it. That was cool. You couldn't do games yet. Then they added that feature. Then you could start doing games. Then you could start doing this. Now you can go and go all on the website just like a computer. Like see, it's expanding. That's energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the best way I want it. I know I went into a little bit of a ramble. And shout out to all who's in here, but that's just important because that can be used for any area of life and anything you're going for, whether it's a task, a career, work, a purpose, whether it's an addiction you're trying to treat, whether it's your health you're trying to build, whether it's a goal intended, a creative endeavor, a relationship, a friendship, you trying to better your own self, looks, hygiene, self care, whatever the hell it is, anything, growth, whatever, plants, whatever, that is a concept you gotta understand the energy of consistency because all these things are like gems. These are all energy signatures that us being down here in the earth, we're here to kind of like grasp. Because each time we master these things, we kind of like get a gem. Y'all don't know it. And then you get closer and closer to being in the situation of completing the process and ascension and all that stuff. But that's like from a spiritual folks. I was keeping this video just more so on the physical side of understanding things, although I did throw a little bit of energy work in there. But I'm gonna get out of here, bro, because I pretty much got my whole process down. Like y'all understand that just now I'm straight. So y'all need to understand that. So always expand. Even if something don't work overnight, keep doing it. One, because you're building energy and you mastering it. And then once you get to a standstill, if you constantly do something, you feel like there's no growth, just expand it. Trust me. It was hard to realize that because it took consistency to me to actually get there to realize that. So that being said, much love to y'all. And I'm gonna let y'all go. We 27 minutes in. I'm gonna let y'all go. My phone getting hot. I will make another video soon. I will start uploading a little bit more soon. And peace. Y'all stay encouraged and hit me up about what y'all need. Excuse my background. It's just whatever.